And so I wrote this because I am a NASCAR fan. And so when he is at the house with me, we watch the races together. So that's where this story came from.
And apparently you draw other family into your
We decided, I met her at a family get-together. I had had a houseboat, and so we had taken 2 trips to Cincinnati from Louisville, and so we decided that we would put together a book on Clayton and his friend Austin taking a boat trip to Cincinnati, and exciting things along the river, the locks, and all the things that you can do on the river. And then the next boat trip brings them from Cincinnati to Frankfort, Kentucky, where they find treasure on the way, and they get to meet the governor and his wife. That's Brashear, by the way.
Wow, so we do have something to look forward to.
Yes. And we like to go out and do presentations at schools where we talk about being authors and how we do research for books. We don't just put this out on the top of our heads. We go out and do a lot of research before we put these details into a book.
We're going to look forward to next year's book fair. We may see you right here again.
Okay, we hope so. Thank you.
Okay, I couldn't resist one more stop here at the same table because it says, I went to see Grandma. And of course, that's very dear to my heart. So let's talk to the author about this book. Betty Pace?
Yes, this book is I Went to See Grandma, and I have 5 grandchildren, and they all come to see me. And so, I've written books, and I tell them stories. I make up stories, and they love the stories that I make up. So I just made up a story, a little rhyming story about going to see Grandma and all the different things. They go to the park, they go to the zoo, and all the different things that they do when they go to see their grandma. So, and this one is Abraham Lincoln. This is Abraham Lincoln was born in Kentucky. He lived here his first 7 years, and then he moved to Indiana. So this is the true life story of Abraham Lincoln in Kentucky. So the bossy cat. This lady was telling me one day she had 3 cats, and another cat came to her house to live. And she said, it's a bossy cat. It bosses all the other cats. And I thought, hey, I love to write and tell stories. I thought that's a good title for a story. So I titled this one The Bossy Cat because of the lady having the bossy cat at her house. And
what a variety of things you have. Oh, and this one looks good. Oh, what a topic of the day.
Yes, okay. And then, like I said, I have the 2 grandsons that's in school, and of course I'm a retired teacher, and I know about bullies in the school, and they came in one day and were telling me about this kid in their school that was a bully. And so they went on and on telling the story, and I thought, well, hey, that's a good title, and that's a good story and good topic. So I wrote the bully book. I have 14 books in all, so that I have written. And once I retired from teaching, I knew what I was going to do. I knew I wanted to write children's books. So that's what I have done so far.
Well, thank you for bringing them to the book fair. I hope everybody gets a chance to see them.
Okay, well, I do too, so thank you.
Well, we have another fabulous topic here, of course. We're getting so interested in all of the wineries in the areas, the developing, and there is a book that is going to be of great value to you. It will tell you all about them. And we have Kathy Woodhouse here who was doing the photography for this. And I understand you also know a local photographer here in Frankfort. So tell us about April and tell us about your book.
Okay, well, the book is about my girlfriend and I. She's a writer, and I was the photographer, and we hit every single winery in the state. We didn't miss a single one. It took us a year and a half, okay, and we dedicated 4 pages per winery. April, my great friend that I've known for ever. She's even helped me with photography a lot of the times. And she photographed things that I wouldn't photograph, like airplanes. She would get in an airplane and do an aerial view. Not me. I do not get on airplanes. And she also took us and introduced us to some of the winery and vineyard owners. So we got to meet through April, and that was awesome.
Well, now that's April Cole that you're talking about.
I'm talking about April Coe. Yeah, she's been a great access to our book. And actually, she photographed, I can't photograph myself, so April photographed this. This was done at Lover's Leap, and we were so excited about our book. We were jumping in the air, and April was with us, and so she was just taking pictures, and then, of course, we give her credit, and then the aerial views as well. Because she was brave enough to get on that airplane and not me. I stayed down on the ground and photographed tiny little bugs.
So if we want to know about the wineries throughout the Commonwealth of Kentucky, they will be in this book.
They would be in this book, every one of them. At the time, there were 65. The up-and-coming wineries is in the back, okay, about 10 more. So we have them, and we plan on rewinding in about 5 years. Okay.
Well, maybe we'll see you here at the book fair again.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Another neighbor of ours from Woodford County is Debbie Gravis. Now, she has some awesome things to present here to us today that are just a little different from most of the things that we've been encountering. So Debbie, tell us a little bit about what you do and what you have presented with this book.
All right, my pleasure, thank you. Well, my name is Debbie Gravis, and I work as an artist. I have a studio in Midway, Kentucky, and this is a collection of my art over the many, many years. And I go through and explain a little bit of the process that I go through in creating my art, a little bit of my spiritual journey as I have gone through as an artist, because I've not always been an artist. I kind of did everything else but. And finally landed on this a number of years back, and absolutely have found my passion and what I was meant to do. So, and then it also includes some pictures of the studio. My sister works with me. Mom's our intern, and she comes in and helps us. And so that's a lot of what this book is about,
Well, of course, a great many of us in this community have encountered your husband, and we know how busy and active he is in the community. So we doubly welcome you here to the book fair. This is great. Can you show us some of the pages that you have to present here in this most unusual book?
Well, yes, much of this artwork, what it started with was my volunteer work with the Woodford Humane Society. I served on the board, and just to kind of get a break from that, because it became a full-time, non-paying job, really, but a great blessing. I absolutely, thoroughly enjoyed my work with the Humane Society. This is actually Chandler. Chandler was a dog adopted from the Woodford Humane Society. So many of these animals, when I started taking painting classes from a woman named Betty Plymel in downtown Lexington, I started painting the animals. This is Lily. She is our little white boxer we adopted from the Humane Society. She's all throughout the book. And so that's what I began with, were just these different animals. And so all these animals I know, a lot of them are commission work. This piece has been a great piece for me called Tailgate Party. And it came from a solo show that Artique gave me almost 10 years ago now. So, and this is Lily. She appeared in there. This is Nick. He's another dog adopted from the Woodford Humane Society. And that's what a lot of this came from. Lulu, she's a fabulous dog. And so I go through the different pictures and the different steps and the different things that I have done, go into all the cats, and then later I went into doing some farm animals and some floral art and things like that. So.
Wow, what an array. Thank you for bringing it to us, Debbie, and we look forward to seeing you again. Thank you.
Thank you for having me here. I really appreciate it.
Well, an artist that we consider one of Frankfort's own is right here. He's living in Florida, I understand now, but for many years, we encountered your artwork everywhere we went here in Frankfort. Robert Powell, thank you for coming back to the book fair, and tell us about the books that are displayed here, because there's a variety.
There is, but these are all Kentucky, except for this one, which is across the United States. But I started out like with a sketchbook series, and I have the bluegrass. And of course, the very first drawings that I did that were done commercially were Frankfort scenes. I did a series back for Bill Rogers that he sold in his photographic studio, and they were the Capitol, the Old Capitol, the Old Governor's Mansion, Schweitzer Bridge, and I think the Arsenal. And so what I did is, in this one, it's a sketchbook series that covers the 17 counties of the Bluegrass. I came back and did one that is all across Kentucky. So this is my Kentucky sketchbook, and so I've done my drawings, sketches across the state of Kentucky, with a description about the significance of, as far as their part in our heritage. Then I came back and I did one all across America. So this one actually goes from New England all the way to the Golden Gate Bridge, and then I went out and I did a drawing of the USS Arizona at Hawaii. So I've got that. Then I have one here that's called True Kentucky Legends. Now we're looking at the legends, and you know a legend came from some story, some part of our history. But when you go into the library and you look at like Casey Jones, you'll see 8 or 9 different versions of Casey Jones. So I took 16 American legends from folklore that are connected in some way to Kentucky, like the Hatfields and McCoys, and even Marcellus Clay, Cassius Clay, the Lion of Whitehall. And I did the research, came up with the story behind the legend, and so this one contains 16 of the true Kentucky legends. Okay. Then the other one that I have is I did a book called Notable Kentucky Trivia. And what happened is the book was very popular, it sold out quickly, and they wanted to reprint it. And so when I said, before you reprint it, let's think about it, because people would come up to me and they would say, I love that book on trivia, but there was something I found in it that I wanted to share, and I read the book 3 times, I couldn't find it again. So what I did is I came back and I organized this one like in a daily journal. So I have something for every day of the year that happened in Kentucky. I've got like 3 different bits of trivia on every day, and then I have something from every county in Kentucky. So this one I call It Happened Today in Kentucky History. And I say Kentucky history instead of in Kentucky because some of the things like George Clooney's premiere or something like this that is a Kentuckian, even have Jennifer Lawrence in there, her premiere of her movie. She's a Kentuckian, but it didn't happen in Kentucky. So it says Kentucky history.
Well, thank you for coming back home, and we'll look forward to anything else you might bring to us.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Appreciate the interview.
Well, we were talking earlier about some of the things that may be happening with the book fair, and Ellen Hellard and Adele Kemper were saying, you need to talk to Ben Chandler because he has some ideas that may develop into something significant. So I would, 2 things, if you would tell us about that and then introduce us to your friend.
Well, the book fair is one of the great institutions in Kentucky, of course, and now we're in the 34th year. It's been wonderful. People just love it, but we want to make it better. We want to boost the book fair. We want to grow it like crazy. And the Kentucky Humanities Council, for the first time, has been very much involved this year. We are the main sponsor of the book fair this year, and we're looking forward in the near future to taking a much bigger role. in the book fair. We hope that we will be able to do that, but what that role would be would essentially be to make sure that the book fair is bigger, better, and more enjoyable for all of its customers than it's ever been before.
Well, we've been mighty pleased thus far, and one of the reasons that we're so pleased is that we've been able to bring in some very interesting authors with some really interesting books. And
well, we really have over the years, and we just so happens we have a very interesting author with us right here, and that's my friend Steve Israel, who was the chairman of the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee and a wonderful congressman from the state of New York, from Long Island. And I'll let him tell you a little bit about his book.
It's wonderful to be here in Kentucky. And, you know, Ben Chandler, I served with him in Congress for 9 years. When he left Congress, Congress lost one of the finest members. When he asked me to come here, because this is so important to him, you know, I immediately said yes. Ben's a terrific leader, and I'm so happy to participate in the book festival.
well, I think we're very interested in the fact that he has that kind of influence, but we're also very interested in a book that I'm told is going to be one of the best things I've read in a good long while, and puts a whole different slant on some very distressing news that we've been having.
Well, I hope that what you were told is true, and that you enjoy the book. You know, we have been fighting about the balance of civil liberties and survival, national security, for as long as this country has existed. And there have been lots of treatments of that, lots of study, lots of analysis. What I try to do is take people inside the debate in Washington, D.C., but as a matter of satire. I didn't want to write a very, a serious, scholarly, hefty work. I wanted to make it more accessible. And so I would sit in these meetings with President Bush and Vice President Cheney and listen to their dialogue, listen to that debate, and I translated it into the story of this guy who doesn't want to make waves, doesn't watch the news, doesn't want to be bothered, but through a glitch in our national security systems becomes public enemy number one in the global war on terror.
And that book is available to us right here, is that right?
It is. I'm here in Kentucky and talking about the book, and Rob Reiner is developing it for television, so the book was a joy to write and I hope a joy to read.
And we may be seeing it on television?
Yeah, Rob Reiner enjoyed the book, and he's developing it now for television, and we'll see how it goes.
You know, Rob Reiner starred on All in the Family,
yes,
with Archie Bunker. He was Meathead, I think, wasn't he?
So getting a call, as I do on occasion, from the President of the United States, well, that's pretty impressive. But getting a call from Rob Reiner saying that he enjoyed my book and wants to bring it to television, that's about as good as it gets.
It's pretty exciting.
And we can get a preview of it right here.
Absolutely, and we're getting ready to talk about it here in a few minutes.
Excellent.
We're looking forward to it.
Well, we do hope to hear more from you soon about the Kentucky Book Fair, because it's very important to us.
Oh, yes.
We love the book fair, and we want to thank you especially for taking time out of your busy schedule to come here to Kentucky and let us share in some of your words.
It's great to be here in Kentucky, and especially great to be with my friend Ben Chandler.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I big appreciate it.
Thank you, dear.
Okay, Carol Heilman, you have Frankfurt Connections, and you have a book that is really intriguing. So tell us about you and about your connection with Frankfurt.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Well, I did spend a year here with my parents in, ninth grade. And then we moved to Lexington, where I graduated from Lafayette High School and went to the University of Kentucky, graduated from there, and in the meantime married at 19, and then we traveled because of military, and I taught school wherever we were. at the time. But
Well, now I understand that your family had a dry cleaners shop here in Frankfurt at one point.
yes, I cannot remember the name, but it was on Main Street, little dry cleaners, and you know, that's how they got their start. My daddy was a coal miner in eastern Kentucky, and in 1958, the mines started closing down, and that's why we moved. And he got into business.
That did happen to a lot of eastern Kentucky people, and that's why they have contacts everywhere in the U.S.
Right, that's right. And after all of our travels, my husband got out of the military, and we settled in Columbia, South Carolina. And you know, after being all over, and he opened a business, not dry cleaners, but a health construction business. They built hospitals and schools and that type thing. And we were there over 30 years.
Well, I understand that you have connections even today here in Frankfurt, but you might mention that. But tell me about this book. It is intriguing to me, and I have to have a copy of it.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Well, the main character is Agnes, and she has a pet pig, Miss Margaret, and she is a farmer's wife, small farm, and she becomes a widow, and then her house burns down, and she has to go somewhere, so she goes to live with her daughter, and that does not work. And they both decide they cannot live together. So then she goes to a retirement home in the same small town, but she is not a happy camper. So she gets into trouble. So, yeah.
Well, I'm going to have to read that to find out what kind of trouble she has, and with any luck at all, she gets out of that trouble, and I've got to know how. I just have to know.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And you would need to find out what happens to Miss Margaret, because they cannot take pets. So she has to find a place for her. Yeah.